chant before class. Oh no, we just stay together, if you remember. Oh no, Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Oh no, Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Oh no, Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Nasapreshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavate Sevya. Bhagavate Svansuke Bhakti Bhakti Naistiki. Oh, I forgot that one. Narayana Namaskritya Shiva Narottam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Saraswatim Jivaya Krishna Sutta Dharma Jnana Visa Klona Shavya Shamisha Purana Kadanavita Sarvedanta Swami Sri Bhagavatam Ishite Tava Samadashutasya Nanyasya Pratikvasya Krishna Tuya Bhagavata Viva Sarashraya Pratishoke Pratyakshaya Nanavartikaya Premamaya Bhagavata Krishna Sriyanga Tate Kaya Krishna Srimad Bhagavatam Mahaprabhu Ki Jai. We're discussing Srimad Bhagavatam. We're on the 15th chapter. We're on page 486. We got to this point before Karti began, and we have 1 month Karti cessation of class. And this chapter is about the Pandavas go to Vaikuntha. How Krishna arranged for his Pandavas and his entire dynasty to leave the Earth's planet. Very amazing description. Everything Krishna does is a Leela with all kinds of different angles and meanings. So what we find is that there's a whole story, I think it's described in 11th Canto, about how Krishna arranged for all the Yadavas in Dwarka that were moved there from Mathura. There's a long story, the kids, the Yadava children, Samba and others were playing around, and there were some sages there in Dwarka, and they put a pillow inside their shirt. Turn the fan on. 2 fans. They put a pillow inside their shirt to pretend one of the boys was pregnant. And they went to the sages and they said, what kind of child are we going to give birth to, a boy or a girl? Yeah, it was smart Alex. The naughty kids. And so the sages said, you're going to give birth to the death of your dynasty. So what happened was that wasn't a pregnant boy. There was no child, but what they hid under their shirt was a piece of iron or something like that. So then the boys threw that iron in the ocean, and that iron got dissolved and broke into little pieces and washed up on the shore. And the iron filings nourished the bamboo trees that were growing on the shore of the ocean. A little unusual place for bamboos, but that's what the story says. And the bamboos drank the water from the ocean, which had iron, so much iron inside, iron particles in that water that went into the bamboo. The bamboo became strong as like metal. So that was not in Dwarka exactly. It was a place maybe on the mainland, because Dwarka was an island. It's not, I don't know, a specific location. I understand that this holy place was not in Dwarka. It was not outside Dwarka. It was on the mainland of India. It was called Prabhasa Kshetra. And so all the Pandavas went there for some function, and because they're all Kshatriyas, so they drank a little wine, a little too much wine. This is arranged from Yoga Maya. They all got drunk and started insulting each other, say, your wife is ugly, your wife is ugly, you're a fat Kshatriya, or whatever. And they insulted each other. They started fighting. This is all Krishna arrangement. So they didn't have any weapons. They didn't go there to fight, so they didn't bring any weapons. So someone broke off a bamboo cane and broke it in half, and they started hitting each other with sticks, with bamboo lathis, bamboo sticks, like baseball bats. But they were hot, they were iron. They were heavy and strong and powerful, hard as iron. So they started killing each other, and they killed each other in that way. So, did they kill each other? Did they not kill each other? Where did they go after they died? So all that subject matter is described in chapter 15. So we heard some of that. We're on page 487, where it says, Krishna destroyed the Yadus, have become a burden on the earth. So why did the Yadus become a burden on the earth?
Because they took shelter of Krishna, they became...
No, they became, Krishna was fearing because they were proud. Pride is, so they have a phrase in English, pride precedes a fall. What goes up must come down. So he felt that like if you're the son of Bill Gates, you may get proud because your father is the richest guy in the world. So to prevent that, you kill your son. That's kind of what Krishna did. He felt that, he saw that the Yadavas, Yudhisthira was ruling the entire Earth planet. He thought, and he was not proud, but he thought when Yudhisthira leaves, then his descendants, his children, his great-grandchildren, and great-great-grandchildren will become proud, give a bad name to the Yadavas and a bad name to Bhagavan, because the Yadavas were famous in the world as devotees of Vishnu Krishna. So, to protect people in the future from making offenses to Bhagavan, he arranged to eliminate his dynasty from the Earth planet. So, this chapter describes that Leela. On 487, in the commentary, Vishnu says, interesting thing, because when Krishna, in the 10th canto, chapter 1, it talks about Krishna's advent. And Krishna at the time, he ordered all the devatas to take birth in the Yadav dynasty and help with his pastimes. So in the bottom of this first paragraph, he says about that. The destruction, even the Devatas who appeared in the other dynasty cannot be said to be a burden, although the verse says they were a burden. They were burdened the earth because with their pride, they would mislead the people and misbehave and set a bad example for humanity. Because kings are supposed to set an example. They're called kings are called Shrestha Jana, which means exemplary person, Shrestha Jana. So he was fearing that they may set a bad example of just enjoying material life too much in excess. There's a verse in Gita that says, whatever a great man does, the common man follows. So the kings are supposed to set the example of Dharma and uphold Dharma in the kingdom. They learn the principles of Dharma from the Brahmins, and they follow the teaching of the Brahmins. The first ones that are submissive to the authorities are the kings are submissive to their gurus. The gurus of the kings are the Brahmins. And the rest of the society, the Vaishyas, businessmen, and farmers and laborers are submissive to the kings. So they said the Brahmins are called Bhudeva, and the kings are called Naradeva. Nara means human beings. So the Lord, the master, the controller, the God of the human beings is the king. And the God of the earth, the representative of God on earth, is the Brahmins. It's said in Shastra, Vedic Shastra, the Brahmins speak on behalf of Bhagavan and they eat on behalf of Bhagavan. So the Brahman Mukh, the mouth of the Brahman represents Krishna. That's why people get all kinds of blessings and all kinds of punya sukriti by feeding Brahmins. Feeding Brahmins is equal to feeding God, feeding Bhagavan. That's why they're so fat all the time. You're not all, but many Brahmins are healthy. And they don't really want to eat so much, but people feed them so much. So a lot of times they're becoming big because that's their dharma. Their dharma is to eat on behalf of Bhagavan. It may sound a little humorous, but it's really part of the culture. So it's very rare you see some underfed, skinny Brahmin, because people are always inviting them for food, and it's their duty, it's their shastric duty to eat prasad. Of course, it's generally Krishna prasad, and that's because they're all devotees themselves, so they don't eat prasad. So Vishnu is making the point that the destruction of one, externally looks like Krishna killed all his dynasty, but the other explanation is he was sending all the devatas back to their heavenly planets, celestial abodes, because they came to take part in the Leela on the request of Krishna. And then they went back to their heavenly abodes because they have fantastically long lifetimes. The devatas live for 10,000 years on the higher planets. We live on Earth's planet, we live a maximum 100 years in this age of Kali. But the devatas and higher planets, they're not affected by this 100-year time limit of the Earth planet. They live for 10,000 years. So when they came, they stayed here for 125 years while Krishna was here. Then they went back to the celestial heavenly planets to live out the balance of their karmic lifespan. So that's what he's saying. So they gave up a body, but they got another body. Their Devata body was waiting for them or given again to them, whatever. And so he talks about different Pandavas, how they dealt with Krishna's disappearance. So on page 489, it's talking about Arjuna, how Arjuna was so painful and upset in the disappearance of Krishna. Actually, this chapter 15 is a very useful chapter. When Prabhupada left this world in 1977, November 14th, at 7:20 p.m. from Vrindavan, Ramanriti, Many classes were given around the world of ISKCON to pacify the heartbroken and aggrieved disciples of Srila Prabhupada. So I heard many classes in the temples of ISKCON based on chapter 15, because it gives some idea how to cope, how to deal with the disappearance of one's guru. This section, especially on Canto 1, chapter 15, verse 27 through 40, describes how does a devotee deal with disappearance of his Lord. Because for Arjuna, who is Arjuna's guru? Hello?
Krishna.
Krishna, right. The guru of Arjuna is Krishna, and his teachings are Bhagavad Gita. So Arjuna acted as the ideal disciple of an ideal guru. So in the separation from his guru, he felt great pain of separation. And so this chapter 15 in these verses here describe how he dealt with the pain of separation. So basically it says, he remembered the teachings of his guru. What did his guru teach him about life? So that's on page 490, Vishnu says. How did he relieve his pain of separation from his guru? Because as they say in that song by Narottam Das Thakur, there's nothing more painful than separation from a devotee. Yeah, Nilo Prema Dana Harinam. What's it go?
Karuna Jaya Nilo Prema Dana Karuna.
How do you know the whole thing?
Jaya Nilo Prema Dana Karuna Pracho. Hena Prabhu Kotha Gela Acharya Thakur.
Yeah, where are you going in Acharya Thakur? So he says he remembered the words of the beloved. He said, commentary Vishnu, when a person is burning in separation from someone they love, they remember the words of that beloved, the burning pain of that separation is extinguished. So the same situation, so that's the analogy, and the reality of that analogy is Arjuna. He remembered the nectar teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, which he received from the cooling Chandra Mukha Chandra of Krishna. It relieved him of all pain. So the idea is that Bhagavad Gita, anyone who's suffering pain of separation from beloved one, they get relief by hearing the teaching of Bhagavad Gita. Many times we've been asked to go and speak in houses in Delhi of someone who lost their husband. Some wife, their husband died, and they're grieving for the loss of their husband, and they organized a kirtan program in their house for 7 days, or so many days after the death of their husband. And they usually, on the 7th day, or whatever, 3 days, whatever it is, they have a lecture from some sadhu, some Vaishnava from the temple. So we've gone there, and generally we speak from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 11 to 30. Verse 11 to 30 in Bhagavad Gita describes about the difference between the body and the soul. You're lamenting for that which is not worthy of grief. The wise lament neither for the living nor the dead. So you try to help the person understand your husband is not dead and gone. He's still alive. He's going to take birth very soon in Delhi. and then grow up. And then you'll die maybe a few years. Give birth and grow up. You'll both get remarried in another 25 years. It can happen that way. We're laughing, but it can happen exactly like that. But you get a new body within a few months or year or something like that. I don't know. You go to Petri Loka for 1 year and then you take birth in the Earth planet again, if you're born in an Earth planet, which is generally the situation. So that's one point. The knowledge of Bhagavad Gita was not forgotten by the influence of time, action, or ignorance. So then, so remembering Krishna's teachings will remove the pain of separation. Now on page 495, Vishwanath explains more detail about how the Devatas gave up their bodies to the Yadavas. The Devatas appeared along with Krishna in their Amsha forms. In other words, as we heard from Chandogya Upanishad, which is quoted in Vedanta Sutra, Brahma Sutra commentary, Govinda Bhasya, by Baladev Vidyabhushan, he said liberated souls can manifest and produce 1,020 spiritual bodies. So the Devatas in higher planets also have the ability to expand their forms. You must have heard about yogis expanding forms. What is an example of a yogi expanding its form in the Srimad Bhagavatam? What is the question I asked?
What is the example of yogi expanding his form in Srimad Bhagavatam?
Yeah. It's very interesting to note that this yogi was doing tapasya in the Yamuna, right opposite where Devara Rishi lived. Devara Rishi lived for 300 years on the other side of the Yamuna at Keshigarh. He left his body about 20 years ago. I had darshan of him twice, directly. Many devotees from ISKCON and around the world, I had darshan. He was a Ramanandi sadhu, but he's also a great yogi. And he was doing tapasya, he lived there, he only ate fruits, or I don't know, he only ate fruits for his whole life. I don't think he was dressed, I think he was always naked. But he gave darshan from behind a wall, a raised house above the ground, on pillars from a wall, and you just see his head and beard, long hair. Because one time he stood out there, we came in to have darshan, beginning of Karti, 1988, I think 88, I was on Brajmandal Parikrama with ISKCON, and our group came, it was at the end of Karti, we come through Bandiravan, Bajravan, and they're going back to Mathura, and conclude the Parikrama where we started at Vishramghat. And we came in a small group, it was the second annual Parikrama of Vrindavan. There was about 30 devotees at that time. The Parikrama started with 60. After 3 days, it went down to 30. It was very austere in that time. The only place you could drink water was from a hand pump, and now they have bottled water, but it's different days, different time then. Very austere. Nowadays on the Parikrama, Dobies travel with the Parikrama party. And snackmobile, and Dobies, there was nothing then. You just had khichdi for breakfast and chapatis and sabzis it was austere. It was really nobody watched. Now Dobies means someone to wash your clothes. You're walking for 30 days, sleeping in tents. They set up a tent every time you move here and there. Walk 20, 30 kilometers a day. 25 minimum, 30 kilometers a day, and sleep, and hope you live. Somehow we live for a while. So we got to the ashram, Devara Rishi. We came with a kirtan. I think B.B. Govinda Swami was leading kirtan. He was a brahmachari then, Ayodhyapati. His name was Ayodhyapati, the Lord of Ayodhya. His name for Ramachandra. Ayodhyapati Das, brahmachari. He was a cook in Vrindavan temple. He was a devotee cook. He was a good cook. He's still is, I guess. He is a good cook. He was leading kirtan. I think so. I don't remember. Maybe it was Logannath Swami or Dinabandhu. I don't know. But this Baba was there. We went to have darshan. They were about. He got so excited. He stood up. He stood up from behind this boundary wall. He has a wooden wall around, veranda around the scrutier with a wooden wall. You can't see him except his head. He stood up and his servant is down on the ground. He said, Baba, get down. So we had full darshan. we saw those skis. That was a little funny. So who is the yogi? It just dawned on me now that maybe that yogi I'm talking about came back as Devara Rishi. Could be. And Devara Rishi was doing tapasya 50 meters where this yogi was doing tapasya in Yamuna. So who is that yogi? 9th Canto of Bhagavatam. Say it. Sobari Muni. I think it's S-H. Show. Is S-A-U or Shobari? Shah. Not so. He's Shobari. Shobari Rishi. He was doing tapasya. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about what the purport of the commentary of Mishnah, right? So what has he said? On page 495, it says the Devatas, at the time of appearing with Krishna, in their Amsha forms, they entered. So Amsha means expansion. So I'm talking about how liberated souls can expand their body 1,020 times. Liberated soul means Siddha, saints. Now I'm also saying that beings who live in higher planets like Devatas, who are not Siddha saints, can expand their bodies. So my logic went further down from Devatas to human beings. First, Siddha sadhus can expand their body, spiritual body, 1,020 times. Siddha means you're in a spiritual world. You have 1,020 spiritual bodies. You can be a cowherd boy and a cowherd girl, and a tree and a peacock and a parrot and a monkey. You like a doggy? You like doggy? Cow, goat, a mother, a father, no problem. So this yogi expanded himself 50 times. Shobari Rishi expanded himself 50 times to get married. To 50 daughters of King Mandata, who's the king of Matgaon. Matgaon is right in the village where Mansarovar is located. Mansarovar is where Shiva bathed to become a gopi. Some Puranas say that, but some people say bathe in Chandra Sarovar. Like today we heard. Anyway, whatever. So that's a little background on Amsha. How the Devatas. So it means there's one Devata is in the heavenly planets and one Devata came here. So, at the time of appearing with Krishna, Asura entered in the eternal forms belonging to the Yadavas. So Yadavas, they're in eternal associates of Krishna named Yadavas. One demigod was riding inside them. I always make the analogy like kangaroo. Mother kangaroo has a little baby sitting in her front pocket, you know. So you have your cell phone in your pants pocket. So we had a baby sitting in there. So a kangaroo has a pocket, a belly pocket. In front of the belly button has a pocket. A little baby sits there. He holds on the edge of the pocket. Goes for the mother jumps him. It must be quite a ride. He watches his mother get into fist fights. He sits there. Mom, get him, move. Because they fight. They fight like this, right? I saw on the internet one guy, some Australian guy, he was boxing with a kangaroo. He had boxing gloves on, and he hit the kangaroo went back. And then hopped away. That's so funny. He must have seen, they probably have a contest or something like that. Kangaroo boxing. Reminds you of my friend. We were sitting around one time, and those go throwing samadhi outside in Radhakund, chanting and talking, mostly talking, but pretending we're chanting. And we're sitting, he was on my left side, I was on the right side. We're chanting. And a big monkey came up and pushed him. Big guy, big ego, king monkey. He pushed him. And just spontaneously, this guy, Giridhari Das, he turned around and smacked the monkey with his head. And the monkey went flying back. The boy was like, he was so surprised. This guy, he hit him right in the mouth, like, whoa. He was like, this guy. Usually everybody jumps to the monkey, He's a big guy. He jumped on his back. He's trying to get out of here. The guy, he's sitting there looking at him. Then he ran away, It was funny. I never saw it in my life. So funny. He hit the guy like right in the mouth. I wish I had the nerve to do that. I don't know. If he probably wouldn't do it, he was wear a constant like face to face. I don't know. Anyway, so here it says 495. Separating those eternal forms by the power of Yogamaya, they went back to Pravasa Kshetra. So they were in Pravasa Kshetra, and they were outside the Kshetra, and they started drinking, because they don't drink in a holy place. They went to Pravasa Kshetra, did some puja, then they went to the local liquor store or whatever, local bar, whatever. She started drinking, and they got drunk and started fighting with bamboo sticks. So he separated, they looked like they died, but their eternal form of Yada, the Devata went back, the Devata came out of their body, went back to the heavenly planets. One body fell on the ground, material body, and the spiritual body of the eternal associate went back to Pravasa Kshetra and went back to the spiritual world. So they were made to attain Svarga with the forms of the Devatas by Krishna, who showed the world that they gave up their bodies by the power of Maya. This according to explanation 11th Canto. The Yadavas are Nityasthita associates of Krishna. They disappeared from the sight of the world, but remained in the pastimes of Krishna and the same work as before. This is understood from the commentaries of Bhagavatam by Sanat Goswami. So it's interesting. It's like three and one. One was in one person, one Yadava. There was Nityasthita Yadava. There was a Devata, and there was a material body covering the spiritual body. So this material body fell dead on the ground from having a fight with each other. They killed each other's material body. And then the spiritual bodies went back to Pravasa Kshetra, back to Dwarka, back to the spiritual world. And the Devatas were mixed in with them. They went and got their Devata body again and went back to heavenly planets to live out their karmic destiny. So now, that's In page 496, it says, like a magician, Krishna displayed a false show of giving up his own body, because Krishna was also a prostitute. He was also a prostitute one day, sitting there under a tree with his leg crossed over his knee. You know, like sit on a chair and fold your leg. And so his bottom of his foot was showing. So this hunter in the forest saw under the tree this bright reddish color. And he thought it was some animal, deer or something. So he shot his arrow, and the arrow hit the foot of Krishna. And Krishna showed the pastime of dying, of giving up his body. So materialistic people say Krishna was killed at that place by the hunter named Jara. Jara means old age, I think. Jara. So, but it is just describing you. Like a magician, Krishna displayed the false show of giving up his own body. Krishna maintains various forms and also gives them up. But Krishna never assumes forms and then gives them up. Even when he gives up these forms, he still has these forms. So you might ask a question which Krishna will ask on your behalf. How can we understand this? You die and you don't die. I died and I didn't die. Huh? I'm here, I'm not here. I'm visible and I'm invisible. This is the meaning. Okay. Just as a magician gives up his body by cutting it, burning it, or losing consciousness. You may wonder what this means, because in India they have great magicians. There was somebody named P.C. Sarkar. Prabhupada, I heard this on a lecture tape with Srila Prabhupada. P.C. Sarkar, and he had a son also. He was a master magician. He lived in the 1930s, 1920s, 1930s in Bengal. And he performed mostly in India. So he would have magic shows. He would lie on the stage and somebody would cut him in half with a saw. People would see two halves of his body and blood would fall over the stage and everything. Everybody would cry and the curtains would close, no, you walk out. And one time there was during British reign, British were running India. So in the Royal Albert Hall of Calcutta, some big hall, all the ruling class British rulers of Calcutta, the governor general, all the big political people of India, of Calcutta, Bengal, attended this performance of P.C. Sarkar. So he said, my show will start at 3 p.m. So everybody assembled there, and they're waiting, and 5:03, there was no signs of P.C. Sarkar. And no backstage, and couldn't see anybody. And so the manager of the show was getting nervous, and everyone's getting nervous. And they called the guy up on the phone, they had a telephone, they called out, no answer. And then it was 3 o'clock, and all these very rich political people, kings and rulers of India, were in the audience and said, where is this guy? Where is this magic wallet? Magic wallet. They're getting a little annoyed because they're big people, and you don't do that to big people. You don't stand up and don't come to the show. That's not good manners. That's an insult. So it's 5:03, 10, and people are getting restless, and they say, hey, where? People are making all kinds of noise. You know, where's this guy? Where's the magician? Where's the show? And then finally he came out, he came out on stage at 3:15. And he said, very calmly, very cool headed, completely relaxed and calm. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. He didn't say, I'm sorry I'm late, this or that. Please forgive me. My wife beat me up. My wife tied me up. It took me 15 minutes to get untied. You know, he didn't say anything like that. Didn't say I got a flat tire. You know, the usual excuses. There's a lot of traffic on the highway. You know, there was a terrorist stole my car. He was quite proud and standing there, quite dignified, quite relaxed. Everybody in the audience was totally disturbed and agitated. He said, I welcome everyone. I detect some disturbance in the audience, but I beg your pardon, but my show is supposed to start at 3 o'clock. So everyone please look at your watches and look at the clock. So everyone looked at their watches. There are 1,000 people in the hall. Everybody looked at their watch. Their watches said 3 p.m. And the big clock in the hall said 3 p.m. So he said, if you permit me, I will continue with my magic show. So that's how he started his magic. So one time he did a magic show that he got in a fight on the show. And then everyone, there was about 10 people on the stage that time, his assistants. They came out and started arguing with him, and they pulled knives, he pulled knives, and they started cutting each other up. And then they killed the PC Sarkar, and they burned them up on stage. Everybody saw it burn up. And the one princess was there from one province of Bengal, came there with her husband. The king and the queen of some province in Bengal, the British were ruling, but they were kings of that province. And they came in, and the princess was there. And she was a young girl, like 18, and she was crying like anything. Oh, the magician died, Daddy. And everybody was crying, and they just ended that P.C. Sarkar died. So then the thing is, this lady, this princess bought all kinds of jewels and all kinds of necklaces to give a donation to P.C. Sarkar. But he burned up. So she took the necklaces back. So what happened? About a month later, she went back and everybody thought P.C. Sarkar burned up, died. Because after the show, you hid out or whatever, I don't know, whatever. When they went incognito, after the show, P.C. Sarkar came to the town of that princess and the king and queen and did a show. When he came on stage to do the show for the king and queen, and the princess saw, he said, he's alive. And when he came on the show, he was wearing all the jewels that she wanted to give him. The magician was wearing all the gems and necklaces that the princess wanted to give him. He went into her house and took them out of her house and wore them, and she didn't even know about it. So that's what a material magician can do. That's right, he's a magic guy. So Prabhupada told all these stories on tape. So Vishnu Chakravarti is from India. We have some amazing magicians. So a mundane magician can do that. Krishna can make kangaroos come out of kangaroos, come out of kangaroos, come out of kangaroos. So here's the explanation. Just as a magician gives up his body by burning it or losing consciousness, and all people believe it, but still he still keeps his body, he does not die. Krishna maintains his forms like Matsya, while maintaining him also gives them up. Just as a magician still has his body and gives up the body, his giving of the body is illusion. So Krishna has real forms and gives them up as illusory. And just as Lord maintains various forms and produces illusion of giving them up. Anyway, don't worry about that. And it's just, so this is kind of ideas that if you can believe a magician, you should be able to believe Krishna can have dance with 1,000,000 gopis. On page 498, this verse 36, when Bhagavan Mukunda says Mukunda Bhagavan, but they translate Bhagavan as Lord. So I always put it back into Bhagavan. When Bhagavan Mukunda, whose topics are worthy of hearing, left this earth in his spiritual Siddhadeha, his eternal body, for Natayan, Kali Yuga, entered the intelligence. Entered those whose intelligence. In other words, people are dumb in Kali Yuga. There's a verse of Manda Sumanda Matyo, that's also in the first canto. It means slow and stupid. So it means that Krishna left the world and Kali entered the mind and intelligence of everyone in Kali Yuga, Kali personified. So everybody's intelligence in Kali Yuga is only used for discriminating. The function of intelligence is called vivek. What does vivek mean? Look it up in Google. Vivek means discrimination. Vivek, V-I-V-E-K-A, vivek. So in discrimination, you can only have discrimination when you have higher knowledge. Because higher knowledge gives you perception to understand what is the best thing. So in Kali Yuga, people are ignorant. There's excessive ignorance. What does it mean?
Discrimination, discernment.
Discrimination, discernment. Discernment means the ability to tell what is a good thing for me, what is a bad thing for me. So in Kali Yuga, no one can understand what is good for me and what is bad for me. So they take all kinds of drugs, eat all kinds of wrong things, engage in all kinds of wrong activities, which ruins their health, lifespan, heart, minds, and emotions. So Kali is entered, when Krishna left the planet, Kali entered everyone's intelligence and it's causing loss of discrimination. People are acting crazy. When you lose your intelligence, you act crazy. Speak crazy, eat crazy, speak crazy, drink crazy, look crazy. Pink hair, dye your hair pink, dye your hair green, put nails in your lips, put tacks on your butt, whatever. They do crazy stuff in this age. So 498 commentary said, after showing his form through the world, Krishna withdrew it and disappeared. But this verse says he does not give up his body. So like a magician, it looks like he died, but he didn't die, he's eternal. Interesting analogy Vishnu used. Kali entered those whose intelligence was sleeping and had no discrimination. But those who have discrimination and intelligence are not affected by Kali. A thief steals money from a sleeping person, but he's afraid to steal money from someone who's awake. That's called a robber, like a thief in the night. Like Prabhupada tells a story, it reminds me, it's so funny. It's, I guess it's an Indian joke. One time, this is Prabhupada's Indian joke. You guys probably won't laugh, but Prabhupada really laughed. Husband and wife were sleeping in bed in London. Husband's name was P. Das. Wife's name was R.S. Dasi. I don't know who that is, but you can try to figure it out. And they were sleeping, and a thief came in through the window. It was summertime. And they don't have bars in the window like here. So they came in the window. And so R.S. Dasi said, "Hey, is that, who's there, who's there?" And the guy says, "It's not a thief." The thief replied, it's not a thief." So like S.V. Dasi has her jokes, her Russian jokes. Oh, you have a square head. So that's probably an Indian joke. You think it's funny? The white man, is that a thief? No, it's not a thief. So obviously it's a thief. So it has nothing to do with the verse, it's just a joke. So now, we can look at page 499. King Parikshit was the king of Delhi and all of North India. And who did he install as the king of Mathura? Bhadranav, who's the grandson of Krishna. Who is his father? Aniruddha. Who's Aniruddha's father?
Krishna.
Sure? I think Pradyumna.
Yes, good. Great grandson. Yeah, yes, good. Pradyumna.
Anyway,
Yes, good.
just confusing sometimes.
Yep.
He became the king of Mathura, as the king of Mathura, and King Parikshit became cremated. So in the commentary, there's no commentary. And that's where we are today. We'll continue there next Saturday. Age 501. So all my sincere and dedicated, studious disciples should read chapter 15, 16, 17 for next week. I don't think you're going to read it. Jai Jai Shri Radhe.